In one sentence, what would you say is the biggest problem facing America? I'll tell you what I think it is. I think it's this. The rule of law has been supplanted by the law of rulers. The rule of law, which means that every American should be treated equally under the law. Nobody's royalty. Also, that we should know the laws in advance so that we can plan our lives. But what happens when we have a president who not only doesn't enforce the laws, but breaks the laws, immigration laws, terrorism laws, so on and so forth? What can you and I do about it? And what would we like in a political candidate? Elections really shouldn't be so important every 2 years. Our rights shouldn't be up for grabs in elections every 2 years. We're going to talk about that and so much more in just a moment. Pull up a chair and join me. What can we as Americans do when those we elect to Congress and to be the president or the governor are writing laws that are completely outside the bounds of proper government? What do we do when the president or the governor, whose job it is to enforce the laws written by the legislators, what happens when they don't only not enforce them, but they break them? Well, we can't. Look at Eric Cantor. He was the second most powerful congressman in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. He was the second most powerful, and he thought all of his campaign cash could protect him. And he thought he could do any old thing. Well, guess what? You can't, Eric Cantor. And neither can any politician who goes there and swears to protect and defend the Constitution and understands that you're not just going there to represent your constituents, but you're going there under the constraints and the limits placed on you by the Constitution, the supreme law of the United States of America. I want to talk a little bit about the rule of law. Why is it so important? And I'll point out to you where it is being broken, and I don't mean just a little bit. Those who say, oh, it's always been broken, you're ignoring size and scope, and you're also ignoring how brazen it is today. It's an urgent situation, I believe, and I'll tell you what I think you and I can do about it, and also the kind of candidates we might want to send to Washington, D.C. and to Tallahassee. We'll be right back. The Burnie Thompson Show Whiskey Rebellion is brought to you by the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in St. Andrews Bay. Steak, seafood, and sunsets right on the water. Updates on Facebook at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Forest Park Animal Hospital. He's more than just a vet for your pet. He's your dog's best friend. Dr. Stephen Favallaro on Facebook at Forest Park Animal Hospital, PA. Waterstone Apartments. Each home includes a full-size washer and dryer, spacious walk-in closets, and high-end appliances. Waterstone Apartments on North Jenks in Panama City. Elevation Salon at the Panama City Mall, where my friend Samantha will make you look and feel your best. These ladies are not just out of beauty school, they're the best.
Find out what's shaking at Lowe's House of Bourbon at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Lowe's House of Bourbon, located above the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in historic St. Andrews.
Hi, I'm Jay.
And I'm Katie.
Is your check engine light on?
At Gears, we will check it for free.
Don't pay for a diagnostics.
At Gears, we will check it for free.
Transmission services for $49.95.
Free shuttle service in our Gears limo.
Come let my daddy fix your car.
Protection, inviting, clarity, comforting. It's your portal to an outside world, and it's probably something you have not given much thought to. Glass is a part of our lives. It's all around us, all the time. The Glass Center has presented the finest in glass installation in Bay County since 1983. From your business to your community to your automobile to your home, the Glass Center is the leader in technology and innovation for all things glass in your life. Gerard Verga fights for justice every day. As a family man who grew up in our community, Mr. Verga wants to bring those values back to our justice system. Vote Verga on August 26th. Political ad paid for and approved by Gerard Verga for judge.
So the rule of law, what is it? Well, it's the principle that all of us are treated equally under the government, even the president. You know, Richard Nixon once famously said that if the president does it, it's not illegal. Yes, it is. And our president, and we used to know that, by the way, and the media used to get on a president who would break the law. But these days, we've got a president who is brazenly breaking laws. I'll give you examples. Take immigration. It is against the law to transport and protect and harbor illegal aliens. So how in the world is Barack Obama, with Homeland Security, taking 500 illegal aliens every week and dumping them like stray cats into cities? These are human beings. They're not stray cats. We wouldn't do that even to animals. When the government starts to treat people as resources, as some sort of a political resource, and they say it's benevolent, you might want to think a second time. It's not benevolent to use illegal aliens and try to give them legal status for cheap labor. It's also not merciful or doesn't follow the rule of law. In fact, it violates it to try to make them constituents to vote for your party. These are major violations of the law. The president is actually, in full view, breaking immigration laws by transport. He's flying them in. He's bussing them in. He also released 36,000 illegal aliens with convictions, and they were scheduled for deportation, and let them loose in our cities. And guess who was the arm of that? Homeland Security. Now, when George W. Bush signed into law Homeland Security, and some of us said, yeah, we don't want to do that, that's an overreaction, that we give federal agents the power to write their own warrants, for example, and everything else that is unpatriotic and violates the rule of law within the Patriot Act. It was a bad idea then, and it's a bad idea now. The rule of law, what happens when the government violates the rule of law? Homeland Security, they are the ones that I thought, well, heck, since we got them, maybe they'll go get Muhammad and the rest of the Islamic jihadists. That's what we thought. Hey, don't look at me. Muhammad was the name of one of the guys on the plane in 9/11. And now Homeland Security is used to transport illegal aliens and dump them into our cities. It not only doesn't make sense, it absolutely doesn't make sense. It's a crime. Now, who can hold the president accountable for the crimes that he's committing using an anti-constitutional agency like Homeland Security? Only your representative to begin with. Your representative is responsible. In fact, he has a duty. He's duty bound by the supreme law of the land. If the president or any of the officers in the executive branch commit high crimes and misdemeanors, the Constitution, their rule book, says that they shall be impeached. Not maybe. It's not a suggestion. They shall be impeached. So what is your U.S. representative doing about it? I talked to mine, Steve Sutherland, and here's what he told me. I got a lecture about civics, and he said civics shows that just because we in the House begin the impeachment process, we know the Senate's not going to convict him. They're going to acquit him. So why would we waste our time? Now that sounds like a cop-out to me. Just because the Senate may or may not do its job does not absolve the House, does it, from doing its job. The House should impeach Eric Holder to begin with, because as we know, he is the only sitting cabinet member in the history of the United States to be convicted of contempt of Congress. And he still has his job, and he still talks down to the House members, telling them, don't go there, buddy. Don't go there, buddy. What happens when they break the law and the only ones who are able to hold them accountable won't hold them accountable. Do you think it's a cop-out, or do you think it's a matter of being productive? That's what my congressman told me, that it's a matter of being productive, that what we do on the House floor is very, very important, and we just don't have time to impeach Eric Holder because the Senate's not going to do its job. Now, my answer was, just because the Senate might drop the ball does not excuse you from dropping the ball now. And the same goes for the President of the United States. When he let those 5 Taliban commanders go and essentially replenished our enemy, that is called providing material support for a terrorist organization. Something that he and Eric Holder actually convict and imprison Americans for much less. What is material support? It could be a map. It could be information. It could be money. But you know what it surely is? 5 Taliban commanders. That's material support. And that's a violation of the law. As a matter of fact, I would argue that's treasonous. So who's going to hold them accountable? When my little girls studying social studies say, Dad, why don't the other branches of government check the president? What am I supposed to tell her? We'll be right back. The Burnie Thompson Show Whiskey Rebellion is brought to you by the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in St. Andrews Bay. Steak, seafood, and sunsets right on the water. Updates on Facebook at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Forest Park Animal Hospital. He's more than just a vet for your pet. He's your dog's best friend. Dr. Stephen Favillaro on Facebook at Forest Park Animal Hospital, PA. Waterstone Apartments. Each home includes a full-size washer and dryer, spacious walk-in closets, and high-end appliances. Waterstone Apartments on North Jenks in Panama City. Elevation Salon at the Panama City Mall, where my friend Samantha will make you look and feel your best. These ladies are not just out of beauty school, they're the best.
Protection, inviting, clarity, comforting. It's your portal to an outside world, and it's probably something you have not given much thought to. Glass is a part of our lives. It's all around us, all the time. The Glass Center has presented the finest in glass installation in Bay County since 1983. From your business to your community, to your automobile, to your home. The Glass Center is the leader in technology and innovation for all things glass in your life.
Hi, I'm Jay.
And I'm Katie. At Gears, we're proud to offer you a complete transmission service starting at $49.95.
We also offer free shuttle service in our Gears limo.
Lifetime warranties?
Transmission services for $49.95.
Come let my daddy fix your car.
Find out what's shaking at Lowe's House of Bourbon at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Lowe's House of Bourbon, located above the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in historic St. Andrews.
Hi, I'm Darrell Day.
And I'm Burnie Thompson.
You know, we both proudly served our nation in uniform.
And we still serve today on the radio, expanding freedom and protecting the family budget.
And using the airwaves to educate, enlighten, and entertain, and sometimes irritate.
So join us every day and link arms, and let's do our part to restore this republic.
Join me each morning, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
And join me from 11 to 2 on Talk Radio 101. So we have a president that replenishes the enemy right there in plain view, brazenly, and we don't have House members who are willing to impeach him because they say, the Senate's not going to convict him, so we don't want to waste our time. I think that you need to do your duty. You're duty bound to do it. And if you take a look at the crimes being committed by the President of the United States, and remember, Richard Nixon was wrong when he said it, and Barack Obama is wrong now. If the President does it, it's not illegal. Tricky Dick, it was illegal. And Barack Obama, it's still illegal. And the House of Representatives, it's your job to hold him accountable. But I'm not hearing a whole lot about it. I asked U.S. Senator Marco Rubio about this. What are you doing about Barack Obama breaking the law that he swore an oath to execute and enforce? That's the job of the president, to enforce the law. When a president violates it, I asked Marco Rubio, and the answer was he's been critical of Barack Obama for violating terrorism laws by providing material support and also by not notifying Congress 30 days in advance before letting terrorists go out of Gitmo. He himself signed that into law. Barack Obama did. So Marco Rubio has been vocal about that, but nary a peep about immigration. And we know why. Because Marco Rubio, unfortunately, promised us when we courted him, when we dated him, when he said, vote for me, and I'll go there and represent you, he went there and immediately, what did he do? He joined the Gang of Ocho. That's what he did. And you know what else he did? He immediately hired his chief of staff was one of the Karl Rove types. Bad decision. That's not why we sent Marco Rubio to Washington, D.C. to push for amnesty and call it legal status, call it a pathway to citizenship. Senator Rubio arose by any other name. And I had this conversation with my U.S. representative. I asked him in my studio on the radio show, face to face about this. And here's how this conversation went. No wonder the House and the Senate is not doing anything about it. They're in on it. In fact, every single person who represents me in Washington or in Tallahassee are all pushing for amnesty in one form or another. Governor Rick Scott, he signed into law this year a law that allows illegal aliens to become immigration attorneys right here in Florida. Also giving 75% in-state tuition right here in Florida and not allowing Americans outside of Florida to have the same thing. Rick Scott, Speaker Will Weatherford pushed for those as well. So did the President of the Senate, Don Corleone Gates. He did it too. And in Washington, D.C., Marco Rubio in the Gang of Ocho, he's doing it. And do you know that Representative Steve Sutherland is doing it too? He is pushing for the Enlist Act. His name is on the bill. He's a co-sponsor. Do you know what the Enlist Act is? It would allow, if signed into law, it would allow illegal aliens to join the U.S. military in exchange for permanent legal status. Now, when I asked Congressman Sutherland why he would do such a thing, and we were sitting face to face right across each other, just he and I in the Liberty Lounge, here's what he told me. He said that you've got other top Republicans doing it, to include Trey Gowdy and others, high rank, Buck McKeon, Chairman Buck McKeon as well. Well, my thing is, just because they're doing it doesn't make it right. But then the congressman really wanted to set me straight. He explained, he gave me an analogy. He said, Burnie, if there is a child in a car and the dad robs a bank, is the child guilty of the crime? And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, answer the question. And I said, no, the kid's not guilty. Dad's guilty of the crime. He said, bingo, same thing with illegal immigrants. I said, you are comparing apples to semi-trucks. I don't know what you're talking about. But his point is this, and this is what the Republicans are trotting out, and I wonder what you think about it. They are saying that just because their parents broke the law, the children should not be punished for it. And it's my representative's belief that not allowing illegal aliens to join the U.S. military is some kind of punishment. Now, I got to tell you, when I was in the U.S. Air Force, as recently as 2006, I was a captain, never once did I look around the U.S. Air Force and say, We'd be a lot better off if we had illegal aliens here. So what I told Congressman Steve Sutherland is this. I said, I understand and agree that what you are pushing to do with the Enlist Act would be good for the illegal aliens. It would be good for them, but it's not good for the U.S. military. Tell me the upsides to the U.S. military. He didn't really have a good answer to that. And shouldn't that be the primary question? When the U.S. military is currently pushing as hard as it can to reduce forces, it is reducing its forces. I have a nephew who's 22 years old, and his wife is recently pregnant. He's been on pins and needles for the last 3 months, whether or not he's in the honor guard, serving with honor and distinction. So, Congressman Sutherland, why are you co-sponsoring a bill at the very time we're losing Americans in the service to put illegal aliens in the U.S. military? I'm going to tell you more about what he said in just a minute. The Burnie Thompson Show Whiskey Rebellion is brought to you by the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in St. Andrews Bay. Steak, seafood, and sunsets right on the water. Updates on Facebook at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Forest Park Animal Hospital. He's more than just a vet for your pet. He's your dog's best friend. Dr. Stephen Favallaro on Facebook at Forest Park Animal Hospital, PA. Waterstone Apartments. Each home includes a full-size washer and dryer, spacious walk-in closets, and high-end appliances. Waterstone Apartments on North Jenks in Panama City. Elevation Salon at the Panama City Mall, where my friend Samantha will make you look and feel your best. These ladies are not just out of beauty school, they're the best.
Find out what's shaking at Lowe's House of Bourbon at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Lowe's House of Bourbon, located above the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in historic St. Andrews.
Gerard Verga fights for justice every day. As a family man who grew up in our community, Mr. Verga wants to bring those values back to our justice system. Vote Verga on August 26th. Political ad paid for and approved by Gerard Verga for judge.
Hi, I'm Jay.
And I'm Katie.
We would like to invite you to Gears for a complete transmission service for only $49.95.
If your car needs belts, brakes, tune-ups, and more, we're the place to come to. We have lifetime warranties on our exclusive Gears transmissions.
Come see us.
Protection, inviting, clarity, comforting. It's your portal to an outside world, and it's probably something you have not given much thought to. Glass is a part of our lives. It's all around us, all the time. The Glass Center has presented the finest in glass installation in Bay County since 1983. From your business to your community, to your automobile, to your home. The Glass Center is the leader in technology and innovation for all things glass in your life.
So I have not one person representing me in Washington, D.C. or in Tallahassee that seems to have any sense at all when it comes to immigration laws. And they're all Republicans, unfortunately. Now, when did it happen? When did it happen that every Republican woke up and said, I've been wrong about immigration this whole time. We ought to have amnesty, but just don't call it amnesty. Well, what are you going to call it? We'll call it permanent legal status, Bernie. These kids deserve an opportunity. The question should not be, is it good for the illegal alien? The question should be, is it good for the U.S. military? And Congressman Steve Sutherland said, we're just going to have to disagree on this, Burnie. He told me that the #1 criterion, in his opinion, for serving in the U.S. military is if you're willing to die for your country. Now, my thing is, this is not their country. They're here illegally, #1. And he said that these people are going to meet all of the military requirements before they can join. Well, not unless they get the proper documentation to do that, and that's part of what the Enlist Act would do. Give documentation to what Barack Obama calls dreamers, and what Republicans are treating with special preferential treatment. Because in order to get those proper documentations, they're going to have to, their crime of being here is going to have to be forgiven. So it is indeed a form of amnesty, is it not? Final thought on that. It's a violation of the rule of law. And when I wore the U.S. Air Force uniform, it was an honor. My dad did it. He retired as a master sergeant. My sister did it. She served 6 years. Her husband served 20, retired as a master sergeant. My 2 nephews serve now as airmen with great distinction. It's an honor to wear the U.S. military uniform. It is not a vehicle for amnesty of any kind. Until the U.S. military says it has a big, giant need for illegal aliens, this shouldn't even be a conversation. The rule of law should be abided by. It's not the immigration system that's broken as much as the politicians representing us. I'm Burnie Thompson. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. The Burnie Thompson Show Whiskey Rebellion is brought to you by the Shrimp Boat Restaurant in St. Andrews Bay. Steak, seafood, and sunsets right on the water. Updates on Facebook at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Forest Park Animal Hospital. He's more than just a vet for your pet. He's your dog's best friend. Dr. Stephen Favallaro on Facebook at Forest Park Animal Hospital, PA. Waterstone Apartments. Each home includes a full-size washer and dryer, spacious walk-in closets, and high-end appliances. Waterstone Apartments on North Jenks in Panama City. Elevation Salon at the Panama City Mall, where my friend Samantha will make you look and feel your best. These ladies are not just out of beauty school, they're the best.